All right, we're going to learn about a special right triangle. It's the 45, 45, 90, and it's half of a square. So let's go ahead and get started here, and it's got some little tricks and shortcuts for you. So if you were to have a right triangle, which right here it's denoted as right with 90 degrees, you're going to look at the hypotenuse is the leg times root 2. So hypotenuse is, and that is means equals, your leg times root 2. So hypotenuse is leg times root 2. So that's your shortcut there. For the next one, if you have a leg is the hypotenuse divided by root 2, that makes sense because here if you're multiplying, you're going to do the opposite and divide here. Oops, that's what I meant to put. All right, so now let's take some of that information and let's start applying it. So for this first one, it says solve using proportions. Well, it's labeled as 45, 45, and 90. So this is one of the, we're going to use these right here, and let's get started. So for this first one, we're going to do a proportion. And proportion, we're going to set up this side to this side. And then we're going to do this side to this side because that's the information that was provided. So let's go ahead and let's start here. So root 2 goes with x. And we said that 1 goes with 10. So now we can set up our proportions and equal them to each other. And you could also do this root 2 over 1 equals x over 10. There's different ways to set up proportions. Either is fine. So now let's go ahead and let's cross multiply. So if we cross multiply, we're going to get 10 root 2 equals 1 times x. And then this cannot be simplified anymore, so that's your answer. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's start doing some of these problems down here. So it's important that you understand which ones are the legs and which one's the hypotenuse. Remember the legs are make the right angle and the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. All right, so here what we're going to do, since it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle and we want to find the hypotenuse, we're going to do up here, okay? So if we're looking for the hypotenuse, then we're going to take the leg times radical 2. All right, so we're looking for the hypotenuse. All right, so our leg is 5. And then we said we're multiplying that by that. And the hypotenuse is y. And so now all you got to do is solve it. And this is as simplified as you can get, so that's your answer. All right, for number 2, here we know that x and y is the same thing. So those will be the same because these angles go with that guy. And this angle goes with that guy. So we know x is going to equal y. So this is an isosceles triangle. All right, so now let's go ahead and we're looking for the leg. So we want leg, oops, is your hypotenuse divided by root 2. So now let's go ahead and plug in. We could use x or y. It doesn't matter because they're equal to each other. 10, which is your hypotenuse, over root 2. So we got 10 right here, which is your hypotenuse. All right, so now let's go through, and again, it doesn't matter which one you have, but we're going to rationalize because we can't have that in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply that by root 2, multiply that by root 2, and I'm going to have 10 root 2, and then if you were to take square root of 2 times square root of 2, you get square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And then now we can simplify. And that equals 5 root 2. And that's as simplified as you can get. All right, let's try this one. And it's still the same thing. I've got a 45 here and a 90 here. So I know that all I have to do is your hypotenuse is what you're looking for. So you take 88 is y, because these are congruent. So y equals 88. And then to find x, you just take your hypotenuse equals leg times root 2. So we just said that the leg is 88. So there you go. So your hypotenuse, which is x, is that, and that's it. All right, so what I want you to do is you're going to try these. These are within squares, but remember, if you were to have x is 13 here, then that would make these the same thing. So you'll need to find the hypotenuse, all right? And then same thing here, it gives you the hypotenuse, but you need to find the leg. So I want you to try that one. If you did 4 correctly, you should have 13 root 2. And for 5, if you did that one correctly, you should have 9 root 2. And for number 6, draw a triangle. Oops, that's a horrible triangle. There you go, beautiful. All right, so if you know the legs, it's an isosceles, and we know the hypotenuse, then go ahead and you're going to complete this one and find the length of the side. So if you did this correctly, you should get 8 root 2. All right, and that's it for your 45, 45, 90. Just remember, if you're looking for the hypotenuse, it's going to be leg times root 2. If you're looking for the leg, it's hypotenuse divided by root 2.